Hi, I'm Nicole from Growing in Suburbia. Welcome to my kids' room. I had to hide away today a little bit, but I really want to do this today. So let me talk to you about something new that I'm planning on doing on a bi-weekly basis, which is called the Artist Spotlight. So what I want to do is just talk to you about art history, artists that I like, artists that are famous, artists that are not so famous, movements, artistic movements, historical periods. And the reason I want to do this is because I love it. It's just really self-indulgent. I really enjoy reading about history, reading about art history, looking at all sorts of cool paintings, sculptures, whatever. But I also think that it is really important if you want to make art yourself, you are a creative person, to learn a little bit about what's come before you, historic figures, art history in general. Not like, you know, you don't have to obviously know all of the things all of the time, but it's kind of interesting to know a few things, and it is good to know a little bit of art history. And so you can also kind of draw inspiration from it. Anyway, sorry, a lot of rambling today. So the movement that I would like to talk to you about today is called Dadaism. Now, you may have already heard about this in the past, you may not have. I grew up in Germany, so Dadaism is had a lot of centers in Germany, so maybe that's why we talked about it in high school. But I think it's really a very important one for the development of modern art. So I just want to really quickly read you out a little bit about it and then give you some pointers at what you can look at. So let's go. Now, as I just said, we're talking about Dadaism today. Let me just put my coffee down. So it was an artistic and literary movement that was at the happening in the early 20th century. So just after the First World War ended, and it was created as a reaction to the First World War. And it was actually quite wild for its time. So there was groups of artists that banded together and just basically rejected everything that's come before. Conventional art conventions, politics, they really were in uproar, basically. And so they, rejected art aesthetics and reason. They didn't like modern capitalism, and they replaced it with what they called nonsense. So a lot of it is like found art or collections of things. Something you might have heard about before is ready-mades. Marcel Duchamp is someone who did a lot of that, and you might know this one here that's called Fountain. I don't know if you've seen this one before. So it's basically an upturned urinal. So this was like revolutionary back then. Now we might go, but like this is the first time anybody's seen anything like that. So it was super controversial at the time. This movement was also very fluid. It had a lot of different artists doing a lot of different things in a lot of different places all over the world. But what they had in common was they wanted to express their disillusion and disgust for the corruption in everything, political situation, and all the other things that were going on in the world at the time. So it was, as I said, spread all over the world. So there were centers in certain, lots of parts in Germany. So I think it sort of started in Zurich in Switzerland, and it spread to Berlin. Cologne was the center. I think Hanover or Hamburg, I'm not 100% sure. But also Paris and New York were big centers for it, which is why it is also something that's known in the US quite well and has influenced a lot of stuff that came after. So let me just keep going. So yeah, the reason I wanted to share this particular movement is, as I said, because it really influenced so much of what we now know of as modern art, and it revolutionized so many processes and things, and the things that people and artists dared to do. I don't think a lot of people know about it. It was quite short. A lot of the artists involved in it went on to go into surrealism later. But it was really seminal for making all those changes and, crossing those boundaries and just being really controversial, and therefore pushing what art can be. And one particular thing that I think was really interesting is that came out of this is mixed media art. It's not really something, I mean, the beginnings of mixed media art had been around 1912. I think Picasso started on this kind of stuff a little bit, but it really became its own thing during the Dadaism period. And people were doing collages, assemblage, photo montage and stuff like that. So what we now know as mixed media art, where you cut out things and glue them down, and then you put other like paint or other mediums together. This would have had its origin in that time period. And I think that's really, really interesting to look back at all of those things that they did then, and that we now just see as something that's always been there, that's had its origins in Dadaism in the early 20th century. All right, that's all. That's all I'm here for. If you have some time today, check out some more resources on that. Google Dadaism. Have a look on my website. I'm going to put some links there, or on my bio, and I'll put some links there too. I want to leave you with a few artists to check out. I'm going to also put that down in the description. So, as I said, Marchel Duchamp is a very famous artist of that time. Someone a lot of people will also know is Max Ernst. He worked a lot in New York as well. Then this guy here, Raoul Hausmann. I think you might have seen this particular sculpture before. That's quite well known. And then I have Schwitters. He's also a very well-known German artist. Was part of the movement. And I want to leave you with a female artist, because we always love female artists and we want to see them be recognized. And there was quite a few of them there. Anyway, so Höch is one of the ones who used collage in her work. So this is one of her works, and as I said, I'll leave some links below. I'll leave some names, and you can read up a bit more. You can go to your local, well, some of them, you can go to your local galleries if you happen to live in New York, for example, and check them out. So I hope you really enjoyed that. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another little artist spotlight with something else. And I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.